On this episode of Imagine, Create, Inspire.
I still enjoy wearing my shirt and my hat.
Thank you, brother.
And people always like, man, where is that? Where is that song theater? We start talking about it. Some people know, some people don't.
That's cool, man. I love that.
You are listening to Imagine, Create, Inspire, the podcast. Join host Bruce Andrews in conversations with creatives. Every artist has a story, and the struggle is real to stay inspired and in the flow. Join in the conversation by leaving us your comments, and thanks for listening.
Jimmy Hall, y'all. The undisputed king of rock and soul. Ain't that right? What is rock and soul, Jimmy Hall?
Rock and soul is a combination of good old straight up rock and roll and R&B and blues all mixed together. And I don't know if I made this up, but it's a term I used when people were, we were touring with the Allman Brothers, and we toured with Leonard Skinner and Marshall Tucker and all those guys, and they were Southern rock and pretty typical. I mean, more guitar oriented, Skinner at times 3 guitars in a row and good hair slingers, and and Marshall Tucker, a little more country flavor, but kind of guitar focused. But we love the soul and the blues that we grew up on, especially moving. I mean, we heard it down in Mobile, and we were always traveling over to Louisiana to New Orleans and soaking that up. But Macon, Georgia was the soul capital in a lot of ways, having Otis there and Little Richard and so many great singers.
Yeah, maybe Otis was the forerunner into that rock and soul thing.
I think so, because he started rocking real good, especially with the Stax people, but with Steve Cropper and the stuff that they did. That rock good. That really had a solid thing. But we were kind of surrounded by that, and we were soaking it up, and therefore kind of writing some songs with that kind of feel. And we cut a song, Shout Bamalama.
Yeah.
Was one of Otis's first singles, one of his first singles, and it just had a good rocking up-tempo feel and just a lot of fun.
Fit right in with Red Hot Chicken and all the rest of that line out, didn't it?
Yeah. And we revived that song recently. Played a show at one of my favorite venues here in Nashville, the Third and Lindsley Bar and Grill. I'm playing there two more times this year, but a lot of people have been requesting that, so we brought it back, and people loved it. It's a fun, mostly instrumental with a little breakdown where I start talking about where the Red Hot Chicken originated in this little after hours bar called La Carousel. And after a gig, we'd go there and it'd be 2 or 3 in the morning. But right. Serve you some hot chicken on white bread if you want the bread, and some pickles on the side, and a cold beer.
I guess you make it all about Nashville hot chicken now, don't you?
Yeah, that stuff really took off. And back then, I think I was a little more into the hot stuff. And these days, it's just like way too hot. Everything you look at, potato chips, Cheetos. I don't even know what they call some of this stuff, but it's just like fire hot. I don't know what they call it. Ghost peppers, some of that stuff.
Yeah, it's like a sport now, like an eating sport,
Yeah.
How hot can you go? You're not only a great front man, Jimmy, but you're a great collaborator, and I'm always curious because of your list who you're collaborating with now, dog.
Who am I collaborating with?
Yeah, I want to know.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that happened that was really cool, and it's just somebody that I've known for a long time, and I'm collaborating with Kenny Greenberg on some songs that we're working on, and Kenny and I put the band together in the '80s, or mid '80s, is when we started. But Jimmy Hall and the Prisoners of Love, and we played every venue in town, and mostly the Exit Inn. We played Third and Leslie. We played, oh gosh, the Bluebird. We played Bogies. I mean, there were so many that were just real active back then. Just like there's a lot of new venues in Nashville now. But anyway, Kenny and I go way back, and the crazy thing is, we never did an album together, and we're talking about going in the studio and recording some of the songs that we wrote together and some of the cover versions that we've done before. So that's one thing. And so last Saturday, the 21st, I knew that Derek Trucks and Susan were going to play the Ascend Amphitheater. And they have been playing Keep on Smiling for, well, this whole year on tour, and even some last year. Like, I saw something in their on their website or what, they played it 33 times so far.
Wow.
On this tour, or between last year and this year. So I reached out to Derek. I said, man, you're coming to Nashville, coming to my town. What do you think about me singing that song with you guys at the Ascend? And he just jumped on it and said, God, that's got to happen. I said, on top of that, we're celebrating the 50th birthday of Keep on Smiling this year. So 1974 to 2024.
Wow.
50 years old and still rocking. So it was a sold out crowd last Saturday, outdoors. This is that outdoor amphitheater. And we just turned up the heat on it, and it was so much fun. Because he's got, besides Devin, I said Devin, and I meant Derek, but I work with Devin too. Derek, he's got 11 people. When I look at the stage, there's 12 people on stage. That's a lot of great sound and a lot of great talent. Every one of them has got a lot of talent, and they're great people. But just having 3 background singers, and even Susan. So Susan was singing too. So that's 4 singers in the background. Horn section. Devin playing incredible slide guitar. And then, I played my harp solo first, and then he played a good solo. But wow. People loved it, and I think we're going to try to do it again in Atlanta when they play on November the 16th.
That would be incredible.
I think come to the Fox Theater and join them.
Yeah, man. I think I want to say that I saw you in the Fox Theater decades ago with maybe Dr. John or something. Am I right about that?
The only time I know that I was there with Dr. John was we did, and I have to look at the date, but we did a tribute to Greg Allman that was recorded as a DVD or CD, whatever, DVD. It was filmed.
Yeah.
And then recorded as a live album called All My Friends. And I remember Audley Freed. I'm pretty sure Audley Freed was playing guitar. Jack Pearson was playing guitar.
Wow.
And just nailing it. I was playing harp and singing some backgrounds and things. Oh, and so there's so many special guests, I can't remember them all. I know Robert Randolph was there because we did a duet on Can't Spend What You Ain't Got, Can't Lose What You Never Had, which is an Allman song. And then Devin that was one of the first times I played on stage with Devin, because his dad invited him to come up and play that song with us.
Awesome.
So I was singing it with Robert Randolph, and then Devin was playing some guitar on it. But that was a wonderful, you could find that All My Friends album, and Dr. John was on it, Chuck Leavell.
That's an all-star.
So many great people were there to honor him, and Greg Jackson Brown. Greg sang These Days with Jackson Brown, and he got teary-eyed. Greg did, just the emotion of, we're here now. We did this way back then. We used to hang out together in LA and all that. It was quite a moment. One of the special things that I look back at my history with the Allman Brothers, but also with Greg, experiences I've had with him and touring with Greg Allman and Friends and all these different things. Even when he cut my song "Rendezvous with the Blues," on his "Searching for Simplicity" album. So what else we can talk about?
So many places I could go. Hey, so with all this, I can only imagine what your phone is like when it rings, who it might be, and what kind of collaborative escapade comes out of that phone call. But does it still feel like, that excitement you had when you knew you were going to an audition in 1969, for Capricorn Records, and you had to get amped up for the deal and figure out what you're going to play? Does it still feel like that, dog?
Yeah, I mean, we just had this drive and this intent and dreams. We had dreams, and we were dreaming big. And coming up in Mobile in the 60s, and that was 69 and 70. See, the Almonds were there in 69 recording and putting out their first album. So we heard that album and listened to it over and over and just soaked it up. And at that point, we just had developed and decided that we need more than Mobile, Alabama can offer as far as the music business and connections and studios and whatever you really need. So we made up our mind that we were going to contact whomever we needed to at Capricorn and see if we could get an audition or come and play a live show for them. What happened was that Ricky Hirsch, our guitar player, who graduated from University of Alabama, he had a fraternity brother named Ricky Hirsch, and Ricky Hirsch was returned to Mobile after he graduated, and we heard about him, and he became part of our band. But he had a fraternity brother named Frank Friedman, who was playing and part of what I would call the rhythm section at the time at Capricorn, and also one of their songwriters that when people needed songs, he could co-write, or he would give them a song. So we called Frank and said, "Okay, can you connect the dots? Can you help and introduce the idea to Phil Walden and Frank Fenner that we want to come and if they need us to come in person, I mean, we could send a tape, but they really wanted us to come in person and set up our equipment in their rehearsal studio and play a set of any originals we had or arrangements of songs, and that way they could just get a feel for exactly what we could do. And it just, we were so pumped to do that. It's just like, man, we got a chance. We're really going to have a chance to do this. So we set up our equipment, and I don't remember being like shaking and freaking out, or just being full of anxiety. I was just excited we're going to have a chance. I'm like, well, I'll just give it all I got. I'll just do what I like to do, and what feels good. So we had Red Hot Chicken was something that we had to present, and a few other original songs, and some original, well, I say arrangements of some things uh, that we later did, maybe even on Drippin' Wet Live. But we played the set, and at the end, they were just glowingly. I mean, they were smiling and high fiving, and Phil's partner, Frank Finner, he's from South Africa. He had this kind of, that, what do you call that accent? It's German, really.
Afrikaner, I think, something like that. Yeah.
But anyway, he just said, American Rolling Stones. American Rolling Stones. That's what you are. So, I mean, that was, and I've always loved the Rolling Stones, and people say, I mean, I got to see them in '69 at the University of Alabama, whatever their auditorium is.
Mm-hmm.
And then '73, they played Mobile Municipal Auditorium, and Stevie Wonder opened up. But anyway, I was a big fan for years. And then people say, did anybody ever tell you you look like Mick Jagger? Yeah, a lot. I get that a lot. And I really think it's a compliment in a lot of ways. And I can't like run around. He runs about 3 miles every show. I mean, they got these huge runways and big stages. He's running around, but I do my best to move around and use space I have. But everything took off from right there, though. It was slowly but surely we were moving into. We opened up for Almonds and played Carnegie Hall with them in 1972 and all that. And before we knew it, just when we were in the groove with them, Dwayne passed away.
Yeah.
And that was a shock, and they had to recover from that, and they did that. They just picked up the pieces, and Dickie just figured out how he could not fill Dwayne's shoes, but just played his own way.
Yeah.
Play slide guitar. You could kind of hear him learning, or getting the feel of it on the, I don't know which album was first, Eat a Peach, and then Brothers and Sisters. That was quite an adjustment, I think, for the band. And then Chuck Leavell got involved, and that kind of opened up a new sound in a way.
Yeah. You stayed connected to all these people and the people that came after them. It's so cool with Devin and all that.
Yeah, I mean, we lost Dickie, and I'm pretty sure it was this year. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was earlier this year. And we on tour the Allman Family Revival Tour, Allman Best Family Revival Tour starts a day or so after Thanksgiving. So we were down in Sarasota to celebrate Dickie's 80th birthday in Sarasota. When we played there that night, Dickie came out and he played some. He played Ramblin' Man, I think. And everybody got to sing happy birthday to him, and it was just a great gathering of family, and the crowd loved it, and that was the last time I saw him. But yeah, he was a very unique musician as far as what he wrote, and his melodies, his instrumentals, all those things.
Yeah.
But just thinking about working with their sons, it's an honor, and they call me Uncle Jimmy. And when I talked to Devin, I mean, we did some shows already. Oh, he got me on one of his would be the Devin Almond project, but we played in Norwich, New York, for a blues festival they have every year up there, and boy, we had a good time. I'm so looking forward to what we're going to do this fall, and there's always a good lineup of special guests on that tour. It's just, I never know who's going to be there, but just having Dwayne, and Devin, and the core band, they're all tight, really good, great players.
Yeah, good lineup is an understatement in that crowd. It's like they're all amazing. So keep on smiling. It's 50 years old.
Yeah, and we've talked about this before. I've written a lot of songs. That one, so many people have stories that how that song helped them through a hard time, and through a death of a relative or a friend, and a bad divorce, or some people dealing with 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
Firemen, policemen, first responders, COVID, people dealing with that. I got all kinds of emails, and people at show when we started doing shows again, to say that song got me through COVID. I don't know what I was going to do, and just sitting around. I was sitting around and thinking, well, my wife is working. She's in the medical field. I have two sons that are in the medical field, and they're working. And my son, who's an attorney, was doing remote, doing his work remotely. So they were all working. I'm going, okay, well, am I going to just stream some things? People started streaming and going, I'm going to do a little live show for you, and you can fund me. Go fund me. A digital
tip jar or something.
Jar, yeah. A tip. But I wrote songs for my Ready Now album. I mean, I a lot of those things were during COVID, and the best time to be creative. I mean, even though the songs you could fall into the negativity and the anxiety and the woe is me, but I try to concentrate on let's rise up, like the song "Rising Up," or let's get ready now, like Ready Now, and let's jump for joy.
Yeah, you co-wrote that one with Jeff. Is that right? Did you co-write "Jump for Joy" with Jeff Beck, or how'd that
go? No, actually. Jeff Silbar. I know you remember Jeff, the name Jeff.
Yeah.
Jeff Silbar has originally from Kentucky, which is kind of wild, and then he lived in Nashville, but he lives in Los Angeles now. And he is a great songwriter, and we wrote another song a while back called "A Long Goodbye" that I put on a project called Brothers of the Southland. And that was let's see who was on that. Dan Toller was on it. There were a lot of special guests, but that's the first time that song was recorded. But Jeff and I wrote Ready Now, and Jumping for Joy for the album, and they came fast. I mean, Jumping for Joy, he gave me a title that he was thinking about. Jumping for Joy. I said, man, I like that. That song's gonna just. So I just wrote it about my wife, and it just, within a day I had the lyrics and the idea, and Ready Now was. I had a dream about that, about someone, and it could be anyone that needed some guidance, or that wanted to get away from and move forward from a bad habit or addiction or whatever. But I wanted to hear them say, I'm ready now. I've been talking about it. I'm saying I sure would like to quit drinking. I would sure like to get out of this bad habit and get off of drugs, or quit smoking cigarettes, or porn addiction, any of that stuff that just grabs people. And I just had this idea of somebody coming to that point. I'm ready. I am ready for it, to turn things over. I've been down the road to nowhere, and I won't go back there anymore. I put my faith in something stronger. I'm lost no longer. Anyway, that one is getting a lot of response from everybody now. I mean, I've been playing it ever since we put that album out, and a lot of people we just played in Savannah at a jazz fest that had a blues night. So they have the Jazz Fest in Savannah. It's part of the Savannah College of Art and Design. Yeah. It's part of that, or they support it. And but there were a lot of people had their arms up, singing along, and would come back and talk to me after the set was over, and said, man, that song just moved me, and it's my story. Or anyway, that's all about. If you could touch somebody and maybe even be a part of their changing or healing process, it's really good.
I bet there's untold stories like that, man. That song to me is like a whatever it is, 3.5 minute revival. It's like it's a great tune. I love it.
Oh yeah,
I love it, dude. I know you got limited time today, so I'm just gonna say I'm excited about you coming down to the Song Theater on October 25th, dude.
Well, I'm excited too, and I've been looking at my calendar and saying, gosh, it's less than a month away now.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting closer every week. So I'm gonna have some of the same players, but I got a hot guitar player that worked with me back in Savannah, and I got a chance to play with him. He played a Wet Willie gig last year with us down in Macon, and also a benefit charity thing we did for Tommy Talton, who passed away shortly after we did this event, or a couple months. Anyway, I got some good players. I always will bring my A team, and everybody loves playing your theater, and just I can see, I've been in front of thousands and thousands of people in different situations. Hank Jr.'s been playing some festivals where he had 50,000 people out there. I like to see the faces and have people that it's more intimate, and you feel like you can see their faces. It's that thing. You can see a sea of people, and that's good, but it's just hard to feel like you're entertaining everybody because it's so far away. I'll see and hear them, and just the sound is so good there, and you people treat us like royalty, and we love that, and so let's go do it.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be looking forward to it, my friend.
Me too, and my wife will be there with us, and probably some friends that live in the area. Yeah, they always enjoy coming. I still enjoy wearing my shirt and my hat.
Thank you, brother. Thank you,
Taking,
man.
But no, it's like my wife goes, "You really love that hat, don't you?" I said, "Yeah, I like it. It fits well." And people always like, "Man, where is that? Where is that song theater?" We start talking about it. Some people know, some people don't.
That's cool, man. I love that.
Good advertising.
I love that, bro. That's awesome. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
Thanks for listening to Imagine, Create, Inspire, the podcast. For more information on the Shelby County Arts Council, please visit www.shelbycountyartscouncil.com.